The world is busy. The world is interesting. The world is very, very distractive. A lot of people think that the physical world is the ultimate reality, the true reality. Anything else is just a dream. But the 180-degree view, if you were to get out of the body or out of the earth sphere, to be able to step back, like near-death experience, there is more than just the physical world. There is more to us than just these physical bodies. We have a body, but we're not the body. That is obvious. We have a mind, but we're not our mind. That is not as obvious. Well, greetings. Welcome to the next installment. My name is Bill Camp, in case you haven't met me. It's nice to see you, to be with you. Keys to Awakening. This is our channel. Keys to Awakening. Awakening to what? Well, what is it you want to awaken to? Hopefully, you're on the spiritual journey. If you're a meditator, congratulations. If you're not a meditator, I would recommend that you reconsider. Sitting in quiet and stillness just for a few minutes each day will help settle consciousness, will help settle the mind. There are hundreds of benefits for you physically, hundreds of benefits actually mentally. We don't recognize that doing nothing is a very superior state of being. If you look around, if you ask and interview 100 people on the street, you'll find that over 95% do not meditate. How or why is a bit of philosophy. The world is busy. The world is interesting. The world is very, very distractive. A lot of people think that the physical world is the ultimate reality, the true reality. Anything else is just a dream. There is a world in front of us, but is that the only world? Is that the only reality? Keys to Awakening is awakening to higher and broader levels of awareness. You could say that it happens gradually, but as a baby, we are exposed to hundreds and then later thousands of ideas, concepts, subject matters, philosophies, ad nausea. The world is beautiful, but it's also ugly. There's happiness, joy, but there's also pain and sorrow. What a mixed bag we have here on the earth plane. Now, this journey, for me, got focused in the early 70s. I took a training in alpha brainwave control. They called it the mind control method, or the Silva method. I took that class and course in late 1970. One of the first, there was 40,000 people worldwide who had been through the mind control process. Mind control sounded very strong, and that name pushed a lot of people away. Mind control. But then later they called it the Silva mind control method. Then later they just called it the Silva method. My point is that I got an early start in controlling brain waves and entering an altered state, lowering the brain frequency. Now, you don't have to take Silva method, Silva mind control. It still goes on today. And millions have been through that program. But there are other ways to control the brain, control the mind, and to learn meditation. I highly recommend that if you haven't taken any program, that you research it a little bit, read up a little bit. What is meditation? If you're a meditator, I want to ask you, how is your meditation going for you? How do you feel about your world, your life? How's your attitude? Are you aware of conditioning and programming that's going on in this dream world called Earth, the Earth plane? You see, things are not always as they appear. Consciousness is like a sponge. Awareness is the governing principle through mind that we can make sense of what's occurring. Settling the mind, controlling the mind, being on top of the conditioning process is inevitably going to be the key. Controlling your mind and being aware of conditioning and programming. You see, people use words, they throw them around, they say things. They don't really realize that this body, mind, brain, and consciousness is an exotic, compared to an exotic computer. The functions, just the chemical functions of the brain is amazing, is mind-blowing. The brain is one of the last frontiers. We know so little about the power that's inherent in the body and the brain. The chemistry, the liver, the brain, and certain organs within the body are responsible for thousands of processes, thousands of chemical processes. Do you know that what you eat is so important? Being aware of what you're doing to your temple, the body temple. We don't realize that there are corporations in this world that are more interested in making billions of dollars. They're more interested in making billions of dollars and could give a rat's ass about your health. Can you imagine selling certain foods, certain processed so-called foods that are actually damaging the human body, actually killing you slowly? You know, there's a song there, killing you slowly, while the corporation owners make billions of dollars. What a world we live in. Keys to awakening is to become aware of the role, our role as the central core consciousness in my world, in my dream. You see, the health of your body is really in your hands. The attitude and feelings and emotions and mental space is really directly in your hands. It depends on how aware and how awake you are to specific topics and subjects. So, eating something that looks good, tastes good, smells good, can be a pleasurable experience. But did you know that some of that is poison? Some of that is, you can pay me now or you can pay me later. Meaning that what tastes good today could eventually be the dismantling of your health and your longevity. So, I've known this for decades and decades, but I'm a human being. I got addicted to beer. You know, one beer here and there is not bad, but I didn't want one beer. I wanted many beers. I wanted that buzz of alcohol. And for years and years, I drank beer as though it was water. It took a long time for this awareness to be unraveled, to be unconditioned, to see that a pattern of the mind can feel okay, except that you're killing me softly, killing me slowly. And so eventually I had to throw it away. I had to stop it eventually because the body wasn't getting any younger. Now I'm very lucky to be here, to be relatively healthy, and in the 73 years of existence. You know, some people, they're old in their 50s. What I'm trying to say in this particular segment is you're in the driver's seat. You're driving the bus of your own life. It may look like you have a certain route to drive. It may look like you have passengers and interests to go to many places, but you're in charge of your body-mind. You're in charge of what you eat, your stress levels, your energy and consciousness in relation to the world, attitudes of mind, the journey of your inner own full awakening. All of these things are at your doorstep. They're within reach of control and adjustment. They say that, you know, a ship without a rudder, you know, the ship goes through the ocean and there's a rudder in the bottom part of the ship in the back end. In a fraction change of the rudder, a fraction, say 1 inch adjustment in the rudder, will change the destination of the ship. You will never get to any specific port if you don't control the rudder. Now in life, in your journey, you're on a journey like a slow-moving boat across the ocean. The rudder is consciousness. The rudder is the decisions you make in your world, in your life. The decision to have chocolate dessert for breakfast, or a muffin, or a bagel, or a poisonous cereal. Most cereals are made from grains. Most cereals are high in sugar. Most cereals are a combination of ingredients that is no good for the human body. But in the 60s, we were eating Captain Crunch like there was no tomorrow. I wonder why I always wanted a third bowl of Captain Crunch, because of the sugar content. This is not good for the human body. Now, as adults, we need to take responsibility for what we're eating each day. Now, the channel is not to tell you what to eat. The channel is to be awake and aware of what's occurring in all divisions or aspects of life. And for this one, we want to think about our daily schedule, our daily routine, to analyze it, to see what we're doing hour to hour throughout our day. Did we get a little exercise? What did we eat? Was it delicious? Was it good for the body or not good for the body? You see, who's going to save us? Who's going to assist us? Our world is a direct experience of what's going on in consciousness and what the day-to-day routine is. You know, when you're 20, when the body is 20 years old, many people, they can eat anything. I mean anything. Pizza, submarines, chocolate, pretzels, chips, beer. I used to drink so much beer and eat junk food, and I felt great. I felt great. And the next day I could get up and do it again. Then as I got a little older, I couldn't do it the next day. So I'd skip a day or 2 days. And then back to the same patterns, the same mind patterns. To be awake and aware means to recognize who's in charge, what's going on, why am I doing X, Y, Z, why am I eating X, Y, and Z, why would I consider what's going on? Well, do you want ill health? Do you want a short life or a long life? Do you want to feel good or not feel good? Do you want to be happy or not? Do you want to know about a greater and greater happiness or not? You want to spend your life watching TV? There's no wrongness. There's no wrongness. But are you happy with where you are? Did you do your meditation today? Now, it's up to you. Our journey, our experience in life is somewhat predetermined, but it appears that we are in charge. And as long as that appearance of ego and separation is there, we should take the reins of the horses of our life. Because who's going to help us? Who's going to save us? You know, as an infant, we relied on teachers, our mother, our father. And then later, as we got into school, we had teachers. We had many gurus. Guru is a teacher. A mini teacher, a mini guru is a teacher of principles, ideas, and information to help us. Now as adults, we've been making our own decisions. I'm an adult. I don't need to be told what to do. I can do it myself. Yes. But to take responsibility and to dive deeper into what's occurring. You see, when I said, did you do your exercise today? You don't have to exercise. But on study of that subject, the human body adores movement. The human mechanical body, the animal body, adores movement. It adores exercise. Not straining in the gym or running 26 miles, but movement. It's our ancestral way. And if you want longevity and health and general well-being, it's highly, highly recommended that you do some form of movement every day. So did you get your movement today? Now in consciousness, did you read something that's uplifting? Did you do a little, what we call conscious reading? We're going to talk about that. There's thinking, there's ideas, then there's positive thinking, negative thinking, and then there's awakening. Consciousness itself, the apparatus that we're using in this world, consciousness itself, the core of it, it's like a fountain. This fountain of energy is coming up into the brain, and we experience consciousness as awareness and alertness. But what are we focusing on? Where is our attention? Now, again, I'm going to say this occasionally, there's no right or wrong. But like in exercise for the body, it's recommended you get some movement every day. At any age, it's recommended that you move instead of staying in bed 24/7. There's a cycle of life, depending upon your age and your awareness of what's occurring. There's a cycle of life where you need to adjust what you're doing and analyze and check up on your own activities. what you're watching, like what TV programs are you watching? Where do you spend your time and attention? What kind of books are you reading? What type of thoughts are you having? What kind of food are you consuming? What type of people are you hanging out with? If you don't check up on yourself, who is going to do it? You know, a lot of us have father complexes, mother complexes, grandparents complexes, meaning that we're relying a lot on others to take care of us. Our goal in Keys to Awakening is to awaken the higher and higher principles in any given subject, in any given arena. And of course, what could be the highest? What's the ultimate? What we feel the ultimate is, and this is a result of over 50 years of study and meditation in this lifetime, it appears that the ultimate is the awakening of the spiritual consciousness that's already operating through this body-mind. Awakening of the pure and full power of this awareness. The same is for all humanity. Now I'm projecting that idea out. I can only really speak from my own direct experience and my own direct energy, because what you're doing is what you're doing, and what I'm doing is what I'm doing. But in studying meditation and practicing for decades, there's a higher and higher and higher level of bliss, joy, happiness, and being. And that's just the way it is. Have you ever woken up and felt fantastic? Excited to greet the day? To bound out of bed? Boy, that hasn't happened to me in a while. But to bound out of bed and to be strong, awake and aware of what's occurring and why. Keys to Awakening is going to be slowly giving pointers, giving strategies, sharing ideas and tips to improve, to jump up to the next level, into the next level, and when you're ready, when it's time to advance spiritually, to jump to the next level of increasing, expanding awareness. Now, what we've covered so far and what we'd like to re-emphasize is do a little meditation every day. If you don't do meditation, you may consider learning it. Or simple, natural resting in stillness, and you don't have to call it meditation. No TV, no video, no camera phone, no scrolling. Just sitting in quiet, sitting in stillness for a few minutes each day. Bringing the mind inward, bringing attention inward. You can focus on a single idea, a single thought. We always use the candle as an example. Look at it, light a candle and look at it for a few minutes and observe it. And try to focus attention on the light itself. In the second session, you don't need the candle. Just bring that to mind. Sit in quiet and keep attention on the visual image of a candle. Use your memory. Use your creativity. Meditation and stillness and quiet is actually a natural state. Now, one of the things I haven't mentioned is when we want to learn something, rock climbing or stamp collecting or skydiving, whatever the case is, there are teachers. There are different levels of teachers: beginners, intermediate, advanced, and what you might call masters. And some people call them gurus. And in the spiritual journey of awakening, what we did in the 1970s is, because I had access to a very good library there in Virginia Beach, the Edgar Cayce Library, there were thousands and thousands and thousands of books in metaphysics and all different aspects of consciousness. And I began to research the higher and higher levels of consciousness. Advanced yogis, advanced Zen masters, advanced individuals who had spent lives, most of their life, in the journey of their own awakening. So I began to seek so-called enlightened teachers, enlightened practitioners of the various disciplines of consciousness, of mind, of meditation. And I began to read and study about those beings, what they did, why, and how. So incorporating some of those ideas, we'll be bringing to this channel information from master teachers. In the next session and the following sessions, we're going to focus a little bit on advanced levels of consciousness. So thank you for listening, and that's enough for now. Namaste.